Monster Movie Media presents.
Blast from the past.
Your weekly dose of
Laughing gas.
you don't like it, you can
Kiss my ass.
cause even James has a
Podcast. Even James has a podcast.
Well. Hey, welcome to episode 60 of the Even James Has a podcast. I am the host of the show, Mr. James H. Carter II himself. Himself isn't part of my name. Anyways, welcome to the show. This show is presented and produced by Monster Movie Media. For all your video and audio production needs, video production, podcast production, and consulting, and we produce original entertainment such as this podcast. Check us out at monstermoviemedia.com and check us out on the Stitcher smartphone application that streams podcasts right to your smartphone. No downloading. It's so easy. If you don't have Stitcher yet, for some reason, go to stitcher.com/James Podcast, enter the promo code James Podcast, and you could automatically get entered to win $100. All right, man. Well, man, everybody, you know, this is what's up. We are smack dab in the middle of August. If you're listening to this as it's released, if you're listening to this in the future, hello, future people. Or hello from the past. Fucking no. Whatever. So, yeah, we're just going to jump right into it. We're going to conclude a long conversation that young Mark and I had about recent films we had seen. The last episode was all about The Dark Knight Rises, and then we went on to talk about other movies, and we talked about The Dark Knight Rises for so long. I'm like, you know what, dudes and dudettes, let's chop it up. Let's put it right, let's slice it right hop dag in the middle. So, yeah. So we talked all about it, and you're gonna listen to it. Last week I watched the 21 Jump Street film.
Okay,
Have
I
you
saw
seen
that. Yes.
I want to say that when I first heard they were making 21 Jump Street movie, just like everyone else, we're like, whatever. What the fuck is this bullshit? There's another rehash, garbage, whatever. And then I saw Jonah Hill was in it, and then I saw that it wasn't a serious movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay. I mean, just so everyone knows, I'll pretty much go see any movie with Jonah Hill in it.
Yeah.
So that's, I was like, oh, then it went from I would watch that, not from I don't give a shit about it to I would watch it. And that I missed it theatrically. And then as time went on and I heard like people talking about it or on the internet or on Twitter and stuff, I never heard anyone say anything bad about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then then it was like, wow, actually this movie actually good. So then I watched it last week, and I was so surprised on how good it was.
I really liked it a lot.
Like
I've watched it. I want to say like 3 times.
3 times.
Yeah.
Well, here's my thought about it. There's obviously an element of cheesiness to it. There's some plot storylines or stuff that I'm just like, all right,
Mm-hmm.
like you've stretched my disbelief past its point. I don't believe this is happening. I never stop laughing. They actually accomplished a laugh a minute movie. Like seriously, I was like I was nonstop laughing.
Mhm.
I'm used to movies like that I enjoy that I think are funny that are like they're kind of like a long setup and then there's a payoff that's really funny.
Mhm.
Usually movies that are laugh a minute or cheesy and just cheap jokes. I thought it was hilarious. Like I thought it was really fucking funny. Like, so while I'm not gonna say like 100% with the choices I would have made if I made this movie, such as Channing Tatum's character being so upset that Jonah Hill doesn't want to be friends with him anymore, or Jonah Hill being so caught up in being popular that he forgot that he's undercover.
Exactly. Yeah.
You lost me on that. And
And there was also the whole thing of like in the end of him getting the girl who's in high school, and he's like,
oh yeah, that never was addressed.
I was like she's in high school, like she's under 18.
Like
she says that she's 18 at some point. So
oh, does she?
She mentions it at some point. She says like, I'm 18, so whatever, blah blah blah. But then but yeah, it was just that to me was like the one thing towards the end. I was just like, that's kind of gross. Like he doesn't tell her like I'm a cop, and she says, "Gross, you're old."
right. She's like, oh, cool. Not like in obviously fucking Pineapple Express where that's brought up and it's not positive.
Mm-hmm.
That's brought up. That's adult dating a teenager is brought up the perfect way in Pineapple Express.
Definitely.
Trying to think of anything else about it. Obviously, I like the Johnny Depp cameo.
Oh yeah, that was really great. I like that.
I was explaining it to Karen the show because she didn't even know what the show was,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like this one and I don't know if you have a clear memory of what it is or not either.
I remember it being on when I was a kid, but I never really cared about it.
Yeah, this was a show that came out when I was in junior high. That was like this was the shit. Like this was like the most like coolest fucking thing on the block. Like people were like mad into this. Like thought it was like the coolest fucking thing on earth. And I liked it. I guess I liked it, the show, enough to watch it. And I remember they had they used to have these like book fairs at my school.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they had them all around where like the Scholastic or something,
Mm-hmm.
you sign up and then they would show up a few weeks later and you get all this shit or whatever.
Yeah.
So they had posters that they were selling there. And they had 21 Jump Street posters. But what the posters were, it was one of the dudes from the show and one of the chicks from the show. And it wasn't Johnny Depp because it was someone else. That I think Richard Grieco was like the standout like hunk of the show. I think it was a poster of him and some chick from the show. I don't remember who it was. And since I liked the show, I'm like, oh man, I want to get these posters. So I bought both of these posters. And what I didn't realize until one of my friends or someone pointed out, I'm like, when he saw that I got them, I showed him like, oh, check out these posters. I'm like, dude, like I didn't realize these were like pinups. like the poster of the dude was supposed to be like a hunky. Like that was completely over my head. I'm like, I like the show. I like the people on the show. I'm gonna hang up the poster of the people.
Yeah.
And I remember the dude was like, the whole series, like, dude, you can't hang that on your wall. It's like a dude, man. I'm like, yeah, I like the show. No, but people think that you like him. I was like, what? And whatever the poster was, it was like, a little, the jeans were just a little too tight, So that's my memory of 21 Jump Street. So I don't know. Apparently they're making a sequel. I just heard
that's cool
this week too. So it was funny. Do you have anything else to add about 21 Jump Street for moving on?
I liked it. I liked Korean Jesus, and I liked Ice Cube in it.
Oh yeah, Ice
and
Cube
that they played
funny,
NWA in the movie with Ice Cube in it as well.
Right, that was
playing a cop.
That was funny. I laughed.
I liked Nick Offerman's scene.
Yeah, he kind of summed it up when he said, "There's another rehash from the '80s because I ran out of ideas." That's when I knew the movie was completely aware.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
And you're like,
It's-
okay, let's let it ride. Whatever happens from here,
Mhm.
let's do this.
Yeah, I liked it definitely.
Yeah, it's a pleasant surprise. Definitely check it out if you like laughing. If you hate laughter, then you're evil. Let's see. The next film I watched was a film called Bindlestiffs.
Right on. I haven't heard of this. Or
You haven't heard
seen
of it? You don't know what it is? Okay. I'll give you some. I'll school you and the audience. This is a film that is the first film that is distributed by Smodcast Pictures.
Okay.
Because that was the whole purpose of Smodcast Pictures. They're saying like to distribute other people's films that couldn't get distribution.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the first one. And this is a film made by 3 guys that were in high school. And it was made while they were in high school.
Okay.
And that was really about all I knew about going into it. You know, I was like, I saw it was on demand. I'm like, all right, let's see what this is about. And I liked it. Karen did not. Just to say, someone on Earth didn't like the movie. But I liked it. It was very, very crass.
Mm-hmm.
It basically was about these three boys get kicked out of high school or get suspended or expelled because Catcher in the Rye is banned in their school, and one of them really wants to keep reading it and really identifies with it, and I forget the series of events that led them all getting kicked out of school. So they're pretty much like, well, this town sucks. Let's go to the city and let's fucking experience life. Where they buy a prostitute. One of them starts a relationship with a bum. It's and it's you could tell that it was shot independently.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. Going into it, I knew that's what it was, and I think that you kind of forgive a lot of things
Mm-hmm.
when you know that.
Yeah.
And maybe other people would be like, "This sucks," or because whenever I hear like these kids got together and made a movie, I think about when we made a movie, and I know how hard that is.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going into it like, that critical.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get the message.
Mm-hmm.
And that aside, what I really enjoyed about the film was it was just stayed true to its message or its vision. I don't know what that is, just put it into words, but it was just the things they were saying were so crass and so unapologetic. I'm not going to say it was too like a trauma or that's my go-to for gross out. But I'm sure you could think of things that take it farther, but just a reference for our audience.
Yeah.
Like, what was that film you told me about? Trash Humpers?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it goes to Trash Humpers. but, And the thing Karen didn't like about it is just that it was just 3 teenage boys that were really obnoxious. And she's just like, I don't know. I mean, I just don't relate to this because I was never teenage boys and I can't stand being around them now because they're so obnoxious. And that's really what it is. Just like, it's kind of like super bad with no redeeming value. Like, like no one learns a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the best, comparison I can give it to. So I wrote that I liked it on Twitter, and the people that rated the movie, they favorited my tweet. So they're very hands-on. That people that write about them on Twitter. So I like that. I like that they're not taking this opportunity for granted, and I'm actually eager to see what they bring to the table in the future.
Cool.
So
I'll check it out.
Yeah, I think that you would enjoy things about it.
Cool.
And I hope listeners will as well.
I saw 3 movies recently
Okay.
that I would talk about. I'll put them in a chunk just so we're not spending time
Okay.
each and individually. I saw on separate occasions. Although the first two were back to back, I watched Project X.
That was the party
Which
movie
is
for the summer, right?
Yeah, like the
Or
big
for the
party.
spring. Okay, yeah. Okay, I haven't seen that one.
From Todd Phillips, director of The Hangover, like produced it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Watched that. Watched it back to back with Wanderlust, David Wayne's new
Haven't
movie.
seen that one yet either. I want to see that.
Yeah, and then just a couple days ago, I watched Comic-Con episode 4 of Fans Hope
That's the Morgan Spurlock.
yeah, the new
thing.
Morgan
I haven't
Spurlock
seen that one either. Yeah,
documentary.
I want to see all those movies, man. How weird that you saw them.
I'll say, let's see, Project X. I really enjoyed it. I thought it like kind of opens kind of rough. I didn't realize that it had the whole handheld camera thing going on.
Oh, that was the whole movie? It was like
Yeah.
it's all someone's camera,
Mhm.
cell phone footage. Yeah.
Which, it's starting out, I was kind of against it. You get used to it. And it's not as bad as some of the other movies like that. I kind of had this, there's that movie, The Virginity Hit, that is a similar kind of thing.
I don't remember if I saw that or not.
I don't know if you saw it. Well, if you didn't see it, that movie I would recommend over Project X.
Okay.
Virginity Hit I thought was really good.
No, I didn't see that one. I was confusing it with Sex Drive,
Okay.
which I loved. But
Sex Drive was really good. But no, The Virginity Hit was good. It's like Adam McKay and Will Ferrell like brought it out of independence into like getting released and shit.
Mhm.
But yeah, I would recommend that one. Virginity Hit, definitely. Lots of really funny stuff to it. Has a really authentic vibe to it. Like, there's nothing about it that I thought rang false at all. Like, I really believe that the characters were real people.
Oh, okay.
It seemed like it was a movie that was like just made by these kids. Like in the beginning they show like YouTube videos they put up and stuff like that. So like it seems like these kids make these weird movies. This kid, likes to shoot everything, and it makes sense. So, if you know that it's not a movie, but I feel like if you're in the moment, if you're in it, you can really buy it. You can buy it. But getting Project X is pretty awesome, but totally unbelievable. And the funny thing is that I actually found out after the fact that all right, so we watched the movie, and I told my girlfriend, I was like, that totally reminds me of this other thing, which was this news clip that's on YouTube of this kid from Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. The wildest party ever.
Yeah.
I remember that.
So apparently it was based on that.
Oh,
It
right.
was like
That's
totally
awesome.
like, I don't know, based on in what capacity, if it was like, what I assume is that they saw that clip and then were like, what would that party be like?
Right. That's awesome. That makes me really want to watch it.
Yeah. Because at the end they interviewed one of the kids, and it's kind of similar in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's not even that interview at the end of the party is like at the end of the movie. Project X is nowhere near as good as the actual clip of that kid.
Right, yeah.
Where like the lady's like, take your glasses off and apologize. He's like, I'm not going to take my glasses off. Why aren't you going to take your glasses off? Because they're famous.
Yeah.
Your glasses are famous. Yeah. Well, I suggest you take a good hard look at yourself. I have. Everyone has. They love it. It is amazing. But anyway, what do you propose if kids want to do a party just like yours? If there's copycat parties out there, have me do it for them. Have you do it for them. Not don't do it. No, have me do it for them. The kid is amazing.
Wow, you
Okay.
remembered all that.
Oh, yeah. Well, after the movie, I went back and watched that fucking clip.
Corey, thanks for joining us. The only question that I can think to ask is, what were you thinking?
I wasn't really.
Did your parents say you could have a party?
No.
So
They didn't.
why did you?
I don't know, it was just a get-together with a couple mates at first, and then we thought we might as well just have a bit of a party, and then it sort of just got out of hand, and yeah.
Well, 500 people turned up, the air wing of the police force, the dog squad, your neighbours' cars were being destroyed. What have your parents had to say, Corey?
I haven't really talked to them because every time they call, I don't answer. Because, yeah, they'll probably try to kill me.
So that's a short-term strategy. You're going to have to talk to them eventually. What are you going to say?
Sorry.
Are you sorry?
Yeah, I am.
You don't sound very sorry.
But I can't be exactly blaming it happened because it wasn't in the house, it was out in the street and I didn't do it. Like, the police said, you stay inside so you don't get in trouble, so I did what he said, so...
Why don't you take this opportunity now to apologise to your parents and to your neighbours who have said today that they were frightened?
Well, I've already offered, like, to say sorry to them and stuff when I see them, so... I will say sorry now for everything that happened.
Why don't you take your glasses off so we can see you? And then apologise to your neighbours for frightening them.
Nah, I'll leave these on. Nah, I like them.
They might be fined $20,000. Are you going to try and pay that for them?
Yeah, but I don't think it's fair they'll be fined it because what happened, it was my party, but it could have just been any random person walking in the street doing it. What happens all the time.
Your parents were out of town, you put out the invitation, you started it. Why don't you make a grown-up decision now and accept responsibility, take off those glasses and apologise to everybody that you frightened, to the police who were forced to retreat and whose cars have been damaged, and to the community who've had to pay for this? Take off your glasses and apologise to us.
I'll say sorry, but I'm not taking off my glasses.
Why not?
Because they're famous.
Because your glasses are famous.
Yeah.
Why are your glasses famous?
I know, everyone likes them, so I know, I'm not taking them off.
You're pretty happy with the way you look and the attitude you've got, are you?
Yeah, my parents aren't, but I am.
OK, Corey, we've got to wrap this up, but what would you say to other kids who were thinking of partying when their parents are out of town?
Get me to do it for you.
Get you to do it for you, not don't do it.
Nah, get me to do it for you. Best party ever so far. That's what everyone's been saying, so...
Well, we've got to go, but I suggest you go away and take a good long hard look at yourself.
I have. Everyone has. They love it.
Jay-Z has
Yeah, Project X is really cool. It's pretty cool. I'll give it like a 7.5, 8-ish out of 10.
Oh wow. That's pretty high.
Yeah, it was. I mean, for the kind of movie it is, obviously, like you go into that kind of movie, you know what you're expecting.
Right.
It delivers everything that it promises, and it also goes a little bit further than what I thought it was going to do. It was a fun thing to watch. Kind of a movie with like no real stakes. I mean, there are within the movie, but like I didn't really give a shit. It's not like I was really invested in like whether the kids are going to get caught, that kind of shit. But it was just fun. It's a fun movie about parties and blah 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 blah.
All right, so Wanderlust
with some good performances by kids that are from nowhere.
Right,
obviously.
it had to be unknowns for it to work.
Wanderlust, fucking loved it. Really, really enjoyed Wanderlust. I feel like totally underrated. I didn't expect it. Honestly, from everything, I didn't go see it in the theater because for whatever reason, my interest in it kind of waned after seeing a lot of the trailers, thinking like, it's just going to be some middle of the road, But what was I thinking? I mean, David Wayne made it, and
right. They're just trying to market it boring.
Just the marketing, I think, just didn't do it justice, and it's really good, really funny. Performances are really good. If you like any of those people and you think that movie doesn't look that good, well, go see it, because if you like those people and you like that kind of humor, it's there and it's really good. I really enjoyed it. I think it has a really good. The whole movie is really fun.
Cool. Yeah, I think Role Models was lightning in a bottle as far as mainstream appeal.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think just continue to support David Wayne in his efforts, and he'll continue to make you happy. I mean, I haven't seen.
There's no like. No, I mean, yeah, it is a mainstream movie, though. I mean, it still is. It's not the 10 where they experiment with weird styles of things or weird, and there's no like. I mean, it's like. There's no. I don't think there's much of the really weird sensibilities of the state, or at least of like Stella. Like to me, like say like Wet Hot American Summer. There's that one scene where they all leave, like they're talking, like some of the guys are talking, and then you see the one guy, the last guy who doesn't walk away, he's talking to someone, and then he turns, and then you see that all the other guys that just left are just standing against the like the side of a barn, and then he walks and just goes up and just stands, and they're all just facing the barn, and it's like, it's really weird.
Right.
It's a weird, it's just like the joke. I don't know. I mean, I couldn't even explain it why it's funny.
Right.
But it's one of those things that's just like, it's a weird humor sensibility to it. This movie doesn't have that, obviously the same way that Role Models doesn't have that, because it's a movie that people spent money on that, is not just some sort of passion type project. But that being said, the jokes are really funny. Everyone's really good in it. Paul Rudd is awesome in it. There's some really great, like, it's one of those things where like there's certain times where you get, obviously, knowing movies, you can tell the ad-libbed type things. And, it made me really want to watch the gag reels and the outtakes. Like there's some really great great things where you're like, there's gonna be like a line-orama with that in it. And of course, I love Paul Rudd, so how could you not love that face?
Yeah. Yeah, he hasn't done a bad movie.
Yeah, I liked it. And then the Comic-Con one, I liked it a lot. I thought that it was it did a really good job of kind of showcasing different sides of Comic-Con. I thought that it would do a little bit more of like, there's like parts where they have like people talking just in front of like a white background.
Is this from last year? Or?
I think it's from last year, yeah.
Right.
And basically what it is they follow like 5 different people. Like there's a guy there's 2 guys that are going there that want to become like comic artists. And so they go to like these like meetings with comic companies to show their portfolios. And they have like portfolio reviews there and stuff like that, where they bring their stuff and there's people from the company that tell them, this is good, this isn't good. There's one girl that's there as a costume designer, and her friends made some like Mass Effect costumes. One of them is like this giant fat guy alien creature with like, and they made a robotic head, like a animatronic face for it that moves with the guy inside of it. So like
when he moves, it
when
moves
he
with
talks,
him.
the thing opens its mouth and the eyes move, and there's lights.
That's crazy.
And it's like, it's actually really cool. And like at the end of it, actually, they said that they actually got a job, working on the as consultants for the Mass Effect movie that's going to be made.
Oh wow! Good on them.
Sorry, spoiler alert. But and then it follows. There's like a guy who owns this comic book store. It's like miles of comic books or something like that. Like some giant warehouse type store, and they go to Comic-Con. Just them like. How does the economy affect, how does the comic book guy at the Comic-Con feel when most of Comic-Con is now about movies,
Right, yeah.
And they delve a little bit into that. I feel like it's a little too middle of the road, though, the documentary as a whole. It's a little too much like they follow these people, but they don't follow any of them too in-depth to the point where you feel like it's really exposing anything.
Okay.
They have interviews with people, but they never use that much of them. Like I'm looking forward to delving into the special features of the DVD, because like they do have individual interviews with all these different people, like Kevin Smith, Joss Whedon, Seth Green, Seth Rogen, just tons of people like that are interesting, and they have all the. I just looked at the menus, but I didn't check any of them out. But I guess they included on the DVD the interviews with those people, which was what I was really looking forward to in it. Is like, which they just pretty much use all these different people as just blurbs within the movie. They'll show a little bit of the person trying to sell their. What the fuck is going on in the news? Show the person
some hurricane damage.
Whatever, and then they cut back to like Joss Whedon saying like, the one time I saw at Comic-Con, blah 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 happened.
Right.
And it was actually, I think, probably one of the only Morgan Spurlock documentaries that he's not in at all. Like he's, I was kind of I didn't really know, but what to expect from the documentary, because I know that he made it, but from the trailer there wasn't really anything with him in it. But most of his style, the style of most of his movies is like he's talking to people, he's going out there and doing something.
Right.
And with this one, he's not in it whatsoever. He doesn't narrate it. He's not talking to anybody.
That's interesting.
In it. I think he was strictly a director, saying like he picked the people out, because he's got that 30 Days show, so like maybe that's his thing now, is like picking people out and like deciding who to follow, that kind of shit.
Right.
Which I gotta say, like, I enjoyed the people that he followed, but that's really, I feel like the movie should have been longer than it was, to be a little more in depth on things, because they kind of scratched the surface of a lot of things, but they didn't really go too deep into it.
What do you think of the point of this is?
That's the other part of it, is that I really feel like there's just kind of there's not a point to it. It's really more of like, hey, like Comic-Con's a huge thing. It's kind of almost a commercial for Comic-Con in a way. I mean, with exposing sort of some of the not so some of the not so nice parts of it. Like the one guy, the comic book guy, was talking about how apparently Lucasfilms owns the loading docks there, so he can't use the loading docks to unload any of his stuff. Like, I don't know, but that's like one of those things where it's mentioned by him, and then they don't go into that.
Right, yeah.
It's like, he's like, I want to use the loading docks, but Lucasfilms owns the loading docks here, so we got to come to the front, whatever. It's like, tell me more about that.
Right.
But then it cuts to, like, Seth Rogen being like, Comic-Con's the only place where you can see like 3 Ninja Turtles standing around, they're staring at their watch, and then they're finally the fourth Ninja Turtles comes, and he's like, they're like, what are you doing, man? Come on, we've been waiting for you. And then like, Joss Whedon's like, I pissed next to a stormtrooper one time, like, I don't know. It's like, and then cut back to like some kid getting his dreams crushed because Dark Horse doesn't want to publish his comic, it's like so it flows well though. It was a quick watch. It was good. I mean, I would say watch it if you want to watch it, but don't really expect anything too revealing about anything, and also you don't really walk away with anything. You walk away with like, that was something I watched.
Right.
And they bleeped some curses in it, which I thought was weird. Like, I guess it's a PG-13 movie, like, but then just don't include those. I don't know.
Yeah, that's weird.
But you can't really not include Kevin Smith saying some things. He had some good lines in that, I gotta say.
Right.
Kevin Smith had some good blurbs. And there was actually a part where one of the people they followed was this kid who he met his girlfriend the year before at Comic-Con. And at this Comic-Con, he was going to propose to her. And he proposes to her at Kevin Smith's panel, like a Q&A thing with Kevin Smith. And it's interesting. It's funny, though, actually, because me and my girlfriend were watching it, and...
That's what he proposed, right?
At first, yeah. No, but at first, like, we were like, "Oh, that's funny. It's cute." They met at Comic-Con, and it's like he's just some really nerdy white guy, and she's some really nerdy Asian chick. But as time goes by, because there's a point where like he's trying to get the ring that he ordered from like some metal shop that makes Lord of the Rings replica rings, but he like ordered some ring from them, and they were going to be at Comic-Con, so he had to go pick it up, but she like wouldn't get away from him. Like, he was like, yeah, so maybe you want to go to this panel, and you want to go see the Walking Dead panel, and I want to go see the Doctor Who thing, so we can meet up after that. And then she's like, no, I want to go wherever you're going. I want to do whatever you're doing. I don't want you to leave. I want you to it was to the point where right before he proposed, like, I kind of was wondering, like, is he, like, we both were like, she's a fucking idiot. Like, she's a bitch. Because then she kept, right before, like, he's standing in line waiting to get to, like, he's standing in, like, the question line for the Kevin Smith thing. And he had contacted them already prior, so they already knew that he was going to be proposing. But she comes up to him as he's standing in line before the thing starts, and, like, one of Kevin Smith's, like, handler guys or whatever, or at least assistant to this Q&A session thing, is talking to him and is like, oh, so like, you're the wedding proposal guy, right? And he's like, yeah. It's like, I'm just kind of standing over here so that she doesn't, think that I'm like getting some sort of weird treatment or something. And then she runs over and she's like, I just hope he doesn't ask a stupid question. I just hope he doesn't ask a dumb question, Like, what are you going to ask him? And he's like, I don't know. Just something, I had an idea. And then, like, she's like, well, you ask him if he'll marry me? And I was like, that's fucking awkward.
Wow.
So,
did she say yes?
She says yes.
Oh, okay. So she's marrying Kevin Smith now?
Yes. But, yeah, I mean, overall, it was kind of, I had higher expectations for it, but not too high of, it was kind of like, I knew that I was getting into something that was not anything like, it's not like an expose on, like, it's not the wild whites of West Virginia or whatever.
Right, yeah.
It's like something about Comic-Con, so it was fine. It was just wasn't like, it's nothing great, but it was fun to watch, and had some people. I was actually more interested. I was looking at the list of people that at the end of the thing, like, it said, like, I don't know if it was thanks or if it was like just people that they had interviewed, but there was people on the list that weren't in the movie at all, and like Michelle Gondry was on the list, and like a couple people where I was like, I want to see that interview. Like, why would they, have them in the credits if they're not in the movie?
Maybe it was someone with Seth. Oh, John. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up?
Seth Rogen, Michelle Gondry,
no, maybe
Green Hornet.
Green Hornet.
I
Yeah.
gotcha.
Maybe it was from 2 years ago. Maybe maybe
or he might be in it in like a background shot or something. Maybe a 2-second clip, because that's it's one of those things where there's shots where it's like 2 seconds of things. Just so that's true. I didn't even think about that, but yeah. Interesting tidbit about Michelle Gondry, and speaking of Comic-Con things, when I was going to school in New York, a friend of mine was walking through, or was hanging out in Union Square, and saw Michelle Gondry with his kids, and Michelle Gondry asked him to watch his kids while he went into Virgin Megastore.
Wait.
So basically, my friend went up to him and said, like, you know, I'm a big fan, or
Right.
something
Yeah,
along
yeah,
those
yeah.
lines. Michelle Gondry said, can you watch my kids?
What?
And he hung out with the kids while they had those big Hulk hands on and were fighting each other in Union Square, while he just kind of sat there and waited for Michelle Gondry to come out of Virgin Megastore.
That's weird. So what happened when he came back?
I don't know. He said thank you, I guess. I don't remember exactly. I do remember, though, that he had... But the thing was, he had video of it. And I remember him showing me this video, and I was like, who are these kids with Hulk hands that you have fighting? And he was like, oh, they're Michelle Gondry's kids. I think that's what it was something like... He asked him something about shooting... So I forget what it was, but he was like... Basically, he shot the video... Oh, you know what? That's what it was. Okay. Never mind. Alex that's like my friend. He was shooting videos of different people punching each other with Hulk hands.
Oh, okay.
He had the Hulk hands and he was going around, and then he spotted Michelle Gondry in Union Square with his kids and then said, can I have your kids fighting with the Hulk hands? And then Michelle Gondry said, sure, I'll be right back. And he went into Virgin Megastore while Alex shot the kids fighting with Hulk hands for his video.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's basically like, watch my kid. Yeah, sure, my kids can punch each other with these Hulk hands. I'll be right back.
All right, I have one thing, one final thing.
Cool.
For this episode.
We're really winding down here.
Yeah.
It's getting late.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw another one. I went to the movies. I saw it on the big screen.
Yeah.
It was called Safety Not Guaranteed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you're familiar with this film?
I am, but I have not seen it. I want to.
So this is a film that was inspired by, just like Project X, I guess, by real life. It was which I didn't realize that it was inspired by, but Karen knew, or was familiar with the original source material, which was some kind of newspaper ad where someone said, looking for someone to be a time traveler, you know, must have experience, must know how to fight, you know, safety not guaranteed, you know, or something. So apparently that was a real ad.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with this?
Yeah. And doesn't it say, like, I've only done this once before?
Yeah. And he had a picture of himself, and he was like, you know, mullet, weirdo looking guy. So yeah. So yeah, I guess this film is inspired by that. By that ad, because apparently in the film these people work for a newspaper in like the city, it's Seattle, but whatever, you know, they're the hip cool people in the city, and they come across this like, oh, let's go investigate this, who wrote this, and you know, make a joke about it. You know, it's kind of the thing about it. And starring Aubrey Plaza. And also Mark Duplass, not directing but acting.
Yes.
And the director of Cyrus and Jeff Lives at Home for people. And yeah, I thought it was really cool. It's weird because this is one I don't want to do spoilers. Talking about spoilers in Dark Knight Rises, you're like, anyone that hasn't seen it by now doesn't really give a shit. Yeah. This is a movie I want people to see. And my only problem with it is a spoiler. Where I was like, that was kind of... It was very enjoyable to watch. I thought... Because basically what happens is that Aubrey Plaza pretends to be the person that responded to the ad and gets close with Mark Duplass and eventually kind of falls for him, but is kind of resistant, you know, and trying... Cool, but this Mark Duplass character is nuts, and he's totally serious about... He thinks that the government's following him. He's totally serious about, like, time traveling, and, you know, and, like, they have real tender moments where he asked her why she wants to time travel, and she talks about stopping her mother from dying, which is something that's alluded to in the beginning of the movie, that her mother's dead. So she's obviously talking about... She's making real connections with the crazy... someone that's delusional, not crazy. So you as the viewer know that she's talking about something real, but, you know, doesn't really... You're not really sure whether she's starting to believe this. So it was handled. The balance of all that was done really well. Like I found it very enjoyable. There's just I guess basically I could just put it out there and just say I didn't like how the movie ended. Okay. That doesn't mean don't check it out, that it's not enjoyable. Some other people might have a different opinion. I don't want to, like I said, without I have just saying what I don't like about the ending spoils the end of the movie. There's supporting characters have really fucked up issues too, and
does Batman die in the end of it?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, Batman dies in this one. So that's it. That was the movie. Safety not guaranteed. So I saw it.
Cool. I'll check it out eventually.
Yeah. Wow. This is just we've been podcasting for a long time now, and just talking.
Honestly, when we were talking about Batman and stuff, like I forgot that we were talking into microphones. There's a point where like I was just like talking about stuff. Like it was like it's been like we've been having just a normal conversation that we usually have.
Yeah.
It's like no radio in my voice right now.
Yeah, that's why I say like let's just talk and hold microphones to our mouth. If we were able to have mic stands, that would just take this to or headsets with microphones on it. We could just sound more asleep than we do now, because we still have to have some energy to hold this microphone up to our mouth.
I know, seriously, it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, man, this has been another episode of the show where we talked about movies. Sometimes when we're really tired and I listen to them, I'm like, oh my god, this is gonna sound like we're falling asleep. I listen back and it sounds all right. This time, not so sure.
I don't know.
This one, I think people are gonna like really. I don't think we'll tune out. I don't know. I think that we're I don't know. You were going pretty rapid fire when you were talking about those last movies there.
That's because I was really trying to contrast your fucking rambling descriptions of fucking 21 Jump Street.
Yeah, it's it's people think that I'm high all the time.
Yeah.
That's a common thing that people think about me, and I get it.
I'm glad you get it.
I get it, but
man. I fucking get it.
But I'm not high. It's just only so much. I'm trying to entertain you guys, man. I'm just trying to be here as an entertainer. Mm-hmm. Talk to you about movies. You like movies, right? Yeah,
man.
Yeah, movies are good. And sometimes we have movie episodes, so so we had one just now.
Totally.
Maybe we'll have another one. We gotta end this, man. I'm trying to put a fork in this one, and I don't know how to do it. Will you come to my aid, Mark?
All right. Well,
in this episode,
to wrap it up, the moral of the story is: don't let people tell you what posters you can and can't have on your wall. All right. So think about that.
Wow. That is the moral of the story. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And thank you for listening. Good night and good luck. Yeah, totally, man. That was crazy. Listen back to that. That is because we were at the end of a very long marathon podcasting session. And geez Louise, I particularly was heading into delirious states. But it was still amusing and entertaining. And I could say that because I don't remember recording it. So it's almost like an out-of-body experience. But anyways, the song you just heard was Awkward Terrible versus The Glowing Stars with George Jetton's Inflatable Cop. So check those guys out. You know how to do it. check out the show notes for episode 60. We'll have links. Duh. So I hear the time for me to stop recording bell go off that I can only hear in my head. So before I do, I gotta let you know how you could stay with me and the show when you're not listening to it, but when you're just on the internet, on your phone, whatever, your iPad, whatever. This is it. Twitter. This is where it all goes down. My Twitter account is at James H. Carter 2. The show's, which you probably want to... I should probably put that one first, because this is the show. But this podcast Twitter account is at James Podcast. And, we stay on topic with the show on that one. Mine is just a potpourri of random thoughts, Foursquare and Get Glue check-ins, Instagram pictures, just general nihilistic insanity. So, pick your poison. If you want to email us, it's jamespodcast@gmail.com. If you'd like to send us some type of voicemail for us to listen to and respond to on the show, you could do so several ways. You can swing by our website, click on the tab that says Leave Voicemail if you're on a computer with a microphone, and that's all you got to do. Otherwise, you got a smartphone, record, tweet it at us with one of those fancy Twitter applications that you can record video, audio with, and there you go, at James Podcast. Those are two really sweet, easy ways to do it. So let's do it. And speaking of our website, it is the Even James is a Podcast, podcast.com, where we have bonus videos, show notes with links to things that we discussed in the show, and video links, and also embedded videos of things, and just little tidbits of fun there waiting for you. We're also on the Facebook, on the YouTube, and on the Vimeo, and the iTunes. We're right on the iTunes. And, of course, on the Stitcher, smart radio streaming application of streaming podcasts for your smart telephonings. If you don't have it yet, if for some reason you don't have it, now is the time. Stitcher.com/James Podcast. Enter promo code James Podcast. You could win $100. It could happen to you. All right, guys, I gotta bail. So until the next time we chat it up, I have something really important I need to say. I want you to keep one foot in the gut, other one in the great. Bye.